Hi, my name is Al Green. Not that one, but the struggling guy who was in the music industry for years trying to sell talent and songs to agents. The agents befriended me and taught me techniques that I want to pass on to you through my program, which is called You Can Talk, You Can Sell. Anyone who has ever taken this program has excelled in selling and either risen to the top of their company, their team, or the top of their field. It's called You Can Talk, You Can Sell, and you can get it right here. How do you define success? And everybody has a different answer. It's really interesting because you would think that there would be one answer that covers everybody, but there isn't. Some people define it as being set in a place where they can take care of everything and get some relaxation in. Some people think that you get to the point to where you can just relax all the time and do whatever you want, like retirement. But that really is not what you find when it comes to real successful people. The real successful people are the busiest people you're ever going to meet. Not one that I've ever met, and I have met hundreds of them over the years, has ever been a person to lay back. They're always working. They're always out giving speeches, or they're running boards of directors, or they're busy teaching classes, or they're busy talking to investors and attorneys and learning how to deal with large-scale sales, and they never ever get lazy. Yeah, you'll find a lot of them maybe take leisure time to play golf or whatever, but that's not a definition of success, because there's plenty of people who play golf and really don't have a lot of money. Just like there are plenty of people who are completely capable of being successful, and yet for some reason they will not reach for success. But motion, keeping everything going. You know, one of the biggest things that I see that people have done, and over the years, talking to hundreds of people, there's going to be a person once in a while that decides that they can't do sales. And so what they do is they take a job in customer service. And I'll tell them, why would you do that? Well, it's a lot easier. That's the answer that I would get. Even though you don't make as much money and you don't have the prestige for being a top-level customer service person. Maybe you'll put in more hours, maybe you'll handle more customers, but you don't see awards that companies give customer service people because they're better at it, like a salesperson who sells more. When you're in sales, that is a career path that will always reward you, and you can always find work. Trust me, even at my age, if I wanted to go out today, I guarantee I'd be working by tomorrow, if not today, because people in companies have a hard time placing sales representatives. You would think it would be an easy job, but there are so many people in the world that just don't want to do sales. I don't know if they fear it or they think they have to change their personality. But for whatever the reason, a lot of people won't do it. So if you're doing sales, congratulations, because you are doing it. And if you're staying in it, you know that if you want to be successful, you got to be coachable. And you got to be willing to make sure that you can take on any challenge that's given to you. And a lot of times when a supervisor or a boss sees the one person who they think they can give the job to because they think they can handle it, that person would be you, because you're always willing to step up to the plate, being open-minded, and you never know. You might solve problems that the company never could solve before, just because of your unique way of working. Now remember, one of the things in the course, the six-figure selling system, is learning how to be your own boss and working your job your way. Yeah, your company might tell you how they want you to work, but you can always customize it. And believe me, if you're bringing in the sales, your company is going to be very, very lenient on the way that you do things. Because after all, you're making them more money than anybody else. It's kind of like if you have a lot of competition in sales departments, which does happen, and there is dog eat dog sometime in some sales departments where one sales rep steals the sale from another, and you always got to be willing to fight for your sales because you earned them. Yes, it's only talking for a living, but there are unscrupulous people out there that will take from you just because they see that they can. And the idea is, if you're running into that situation, is to get some vocational counseling on how to handle it. I once worked for a company where they said, we have an open door policy. Great. So I had a problem one time and I couldn't get my supervisor to respond. So I went to the person who said that, which was the president of the division of the western half of the United States. And I went directly to this guy and I told him what my problem was. And then I got talked to by my boss's boss, who said, what are you doing going over his head? I said, now wait a second. Were you not at the meeting where the guy on top, the top dog, said this is an open door policy? Now, doesn't that mean anybody can talk to anybody, or does it have levels? Because it was not defined, and it's not in my job description that if I want to talk to the boss above you, that I have to go through you first. Now, that sounds like it's very much contrary, and that I'm being contrary, and that I'm being a bit of a rogue and arguing with them. But in reality, I honestly had no place to turn, so I went to the top. He then took the situation and handed it down to my boss, who was supposed to handle it to begin with. It's stuff that just happens from time to time. It doesn't matter because it satisfied what the customer was looking for. And in the long run, it didn't hurt me a bit. I didn't get written up. I didn't get anything except for accolades for making this larger sale, even though I had to jump through some hoops and I had to possibly take a chance of offending some people above me because they don't like the idea that I'm going above their head. I've done that more than once because of the fact that when a company says, we have an open door policy, I take it seriously. And the only thing you can do is go to your boss and to your HR department and say, now, exactly would you define what that means in open door policy? Okay? But what you don't want to do is get so frustrated in your sales job that you're willing to go backwards and take a lesser job like in customer service. I'm not saying customer service is a job that's not of quality or not of good, upstanding people. What I'm saying is that salespeople are some of the hardest people. That's why they get the respect, because it's hard to be in sales. It's the easiest job there is, but yet it's the hardest job there is. The responsibility is on you, and the pressure never seems to end, does it? At least it didn't for me. The pressure is always on. And then when you go into self-employment, like me, the pressure is still on. And it's your own pressure. Why? Because I have a longing to be like a person who's up there as a millionaire, billionaire type, and I plan to be very busy. Why? Because there's always something to do. There's always people to talk to, and there's opportunities around you like you can't believe. There's tons of opportunities, but what you don't do is you don't go backwards. If you came from customer service and you went into sales, stay in sales. That's the only way you're going to learn and succeed. You've got to keep it going. If you take a lesser job because you think it's easier, then think about it. You're pandering to your complacency. I know it's hard and I know it's difficult. We've all been there. I specialize in dealing with people who have difficult times and they can't seem to get the sales going. And the most interesting thing I hear is the rejection of great ideas that were passed down from the masters. And they reject these ideas because they're not open-minded. You do have to stay open-minded. Now, imagine, if you can imagine, being in a position to where, and sometimes this happens, you build a golden portfolio of customers, and the company cuts it down for you. They tell you you're going to make more money working in a smaller area. That's not something that I would accept. Well, the last time they did that to me, I found other ways to get around it because I had built up a great portfolio and they decided the new person had to have some freebies. So they took a good percentage of my portfolio away. And I just looked at it like, well, if I want to stay working, I got to deal with it. So what I did was I went to a top level salesperson and said, what do you suggest? He said, let them take it and just go out there and build up more. You'll be a hero. Well, needless to say, I took his advice to the letter, and that's exactly what happened. I went out and I started building more businesses in my existing area that I had found. Turned out that there were new businesses being opened. And the new guy had no clue. He just was riding on my coattails, but that's okay. I didn't have a problem with that. The fact of the matter is I wished him well and I helped him out if he needed it. But I found new businesses, and when I built those businesses up, suddenly I was that hero that this top salesperson suggested I become. And I would suggest with you, stay with it, work through it any way you can. Stay open-minded, and we're going to be setting up a seminar, a webinar, and then I will be giving one-on-one coaching. And it's something that it may not be the most charismatic thing, but stay open-minded because you will see that there is a great deal of opportunity for you. Just keep moving forward, and remember, just never go backwards. It's not good for you. Also doesn't look good on your resume.